talking about how many of you have read the book Deep Work. Deep Work is the name of the book written by Cal Newport. Yeah, okay. Okay, you haven't read it. All right, so, okay. We have Shiv Ranjan here. Okay, guys, I hope you guys can see me. So this is the book. I hope you can read the title from here. But anyways, yes. Okay, great. So if anyone asks me, Prithvi, tell me one book which changed your life, I'll say Deep Work. So of course, not just reading, practicing it over the time has helped me a lot. So of course, today's session will be very interactive. I want every one of you to speak. I'm just giving you mute access also. All right. So Shivranjan is here. He's my his student first and fellow educator. He has worked for a lot of NGOs, profit and non-profit organizations, where learning and development is the key area. And now he is part of Atal Innovation Mission. Earlier, he worked for Teach for India. I would say very passionate about education, and he has developed a lot of modules for school students, mostly 1 to 10. In fact, I worked with him for developing an AI module for CBSE students. So we share a common passion for education as well as productivity, and that's how we came across Deep Work. So I never kept efforts to make a session out of Deep Work, though I talked about it several times. But Shivranjan was telling me, hey, Prithvi, will make a session soon. So finally, we could make it today. So Shiva, you can take over, and I'll be here. I'll be also adding points wherever necessary.
Thank you, Prithvi. That's really amazing. Uh, is my voice audible to everyone?
Audible, Shiva, but some background noise. If you can find some secluded space, it would be awesome. Otherwise, it would be fine.
One second. Hopefully, I will have
Yeah, now it's fine.
better environment.
Yep, better.
So, thank you everyone. Thanks, Prithvi. Thanks for the introduction. I never knew about myself this much. Um, but again, thanks for introducing me to the idea of deep work last year. So it happened like this. I was a student of NLP batch one, and that's when Prithvi introduced us to the idea of deep work. And obviously, after the course was completed, I started working with uh, my mentor in data science field uh, to build curriculum for AI program, which students of grade 11 and 12 will take starting next year uh, in India. And I could remember one thing from the sessions was the idea of deep work and we can practice it over the time. And that's how this idea of entire deep work session started. And so I will not get into too much details of history and geography, but I'll get straight to deep work. Uh, I think before I get into anything of deep work, I will share with you my own experiences that I have had uh, after I started practicing some of the principles of deep work. Um what happens is, I think most of us know this simple principle in life. Uh, Everybody follows path of least resistance, whether it is current in a circuit, whether our efforts in a life, we want least resistance uh, in the setting. And I think that's where I was getting myself wrong. uh, and that was one single point which deep work changed the way I perceive my work, and the way I perceive my work, not uh, the way I do my work. But before I started working on this entire idea of deep work, for me getting disturbed was easy thing. If somebody calls me for uh, any help, that was a disturbance for me. If somebody calls me, if somebody asks me doubts in terms of you know uh, how I can do this, how I can do that, and if I'm in the middle of some work, I think those were disturbing points for me, and I always felt distracted, especially when I was working on training plan or developing a session plan for students who are going to learn over about it. And I think most of my team members were confused about my behavior after I started reading this deep work book. Uh, and Prithvi also, I think, will agree with this point that when when we start reading this book, we feel like at a one point we feel like, okay, what I'm doing in my life is not relevant. Deep work is extremely hard to practice, and I can do it over the time. So, just to share with you, if you are, if deep work is something you are going to look at, then having a mentor or having a accountability partner is really an interesting thing. So, let me start with something which I have with me. Uh, Prithvi, what do you think about this idea of having an accountability partner when we are
Definitely
practicing
required.
work?
Definitely. So, as you said, see, guys, so I'll give some foundation for why we are having distractions. Let's say 10 years ago, 20 years ago, we had no phones, no internet. 20 years ago, no internet. 10 years ago, we had internet. Now we have internet and the phones. We are perennially distracted with the notifications and with the kind of disturbances we get, and we are so used to the short spurts of work or short spurts of content consumption. How many of us have consumed a 1 hour long video on YouTube? No. How many of you have us consumed 5 minutes videos on YouTube? Or, for example, how many of you read a long message on WhatsApp? Or even on, for example, even on LinkedIn, if I put a long message, half of them people don't read. I get half of the attention. So, our brains are getting so tuned towards shorter consumption of the content, and we are perennially distracted. These are two very big problems the deep work book tries to convey. And earlier also, I mean, even before I read the book Deep Work, I read it for the first time in 2018. Yes, I was perennially distracted. So even the book says, the first para itself, people think that, okay, we need a lot of skills, we need intelligence, we need hard work to win in this world. But after reading this book, I felt like if you have focus, you will beat every one of them. Because today, intelligence, knowledge, hard work, above all these things, focus is much more important tool. And if you can develop focus on the work, achieve more in less time, then obviously you're like much better than everyone else. So that's what, yeah, Shiva, I will completely align with that thought. Initial days, it will be very tough. And also deep work, again, when we say deep work, guys, people think that, hey, it's a whole new paradigm. It's like you have to get on the top of Everest. No, it's not that. It's some simple techniques and you can achieve that. Go ahead, Shiva.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Prithvi, for that idea. So, share my screen.
Yep, perfect.
Yes, I think is it.
We can see. Yeah, we can see that. Yep.
Okay, so this is how, and I'm going to start with a question to what Prithvi was saying. According to you, you can type in a chat box also. According to you, what is the most important skill you feel is going to take you far in the career? Whether you're going to grow vertically, get professional hikes, increments, change jobs, get into CXO positions. What is that one skill which is going to take you so far in the career? Okay, I have a chat here.
Smart work. So it says smart work. Great.
Okay, communication, smart work, commitment, hard work, consistency, focus, uh, interpersonal
Continuous.
skills, dedication. Um,
Uh,
okay, okay,
Persistence, motivation,
persistence,
motivation,
motivation, communication. So, smart work with persistence. Nice answer.
communication. Great.
So, most of you are saying smart work is going to be an essential skill. Dedication is going to be an essential skill. Persistence, how do we communicate with each other is going to take us so far in the career. Um, and I completely agree with this fact. But there is one more skill which I would like to propose. And I don't know whether you people will agree with this thought or not, but somewhere I have witnessed this over the period of whatever 6, 7, 8 years of my career in the industry. Somehow, somewhere, okay, one second.
Yep. Perfect. Sure.
Uh, so somehow, somewhere, I have started feeling that apart, if I can do smart work, everybody can do the smart work. If I can be so persistent in my career, I think everybody else can be persistent in the same way I'm trying to do. The but what is going to differentiate me from everyone else at some point of time is one, how do I receive feedback from other people? whether they are working with me or whether they are my seniors, my juniors, my client, people at client place, anywhere. How do I receive feedback from people and how do I act upon it? And when I say about feedback reception, somewhere my attitude towards the other people, towards my work, towards my own values is somehow going to be very very essential for us to grow professionally. Some of you might agree with this thought, some of you might disagree with this thought, and I completely respect your opinion. But this is my own personal experience that two people uh, with same experience, same skill set, one has grown, one has not grown, is just because of acceptance of feedback and the attitude towards the work. uh, let's compare. So when I started working in this NGO field, I was completely new. I was coming from engineering background, straight out of masters in instrumentation. Uh, Worked in Emerson for a year as an embedded system developer, and then I joined a teaching organization. And the second or third day, they told me, "Shivrindan, you have to work on Excel. Do you know Excel?" Uh, Hardly I knew Excel as much as everybody else knew in the room. And I think that day I said, yes, let me try. I think that's the only line I knew about Excel, that let me try out something. I had only one confidence, that if you give me some time and space, I can work it out. Uh, what changed over the next 6 years in the same organization was I was a go-to person in Excel for entire organization. But the same project before me, somebody else was trying for 3 months. The only issue between my communication and the other person's communication was, no, this is not possible in Excel. This is not possible in Excel. This is not possible in Excel. To every single requirement given by the senior management was always replied with the thought that it is not possible in Excel. Let us have some other tool. Uh, Somewhere the attitude will help us change our career trajectories, is my personal feeling. And that's why when I say deep work, the first line, the one line that stays with me in a deep work book is, it is as rare as essential in our life to pursue, to practice, and to share with others, because this is one skill which will grow if you start sharing with others. Because if your workplace, in all your colleagues start following deep work, automatically your deep work will grow, because everybody is supporting your thought process in the same room, or in say you are in home, you are in office, everywhere. It is rare because not everybody can master the art of deep work, but it is essential because everything else can be automatized, but the way you focus and the way you bring thoughts around a given concept or given subject cannot be given to a machine and then you bring it out, because the creativity is still a part of emotions, and emotions are still out of reach of any machine related work. So that's where I'm coming from to this line, that as rare as essential. So when it is as rare as essential, here are these four people whom I have always. So after I started following deep work, these are the four people whom I started reading more about to understand. Out of these four, two people were already known to me as I was following their work. Other two were completely unknown to me.
Shiva, just one moment.
Yes.
We can see the just click share screen.
Yeah, 1 second.
We can see the full screen. You made the slideshow now, but we are
Yes.
still seeing. Just change the
Okay,
window.
one
It should.
second.
Yeah, yeah.
1 second. Let me share the
If you can share
presentation.
the full screen, it should be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Is it fine now?
Yep. Now perfect. Yes.
Okay. Uh, okay, great. So, thanks. So, I think one famous face to everyone is uh, any guesses out of these four people. If you know someone, if you have followed someone's work,
Of course, Vishwanathan Anand.
Vishwanathan Anand, correct.
But Shiva, a lot of people who know this well achievers, they don't. We don't know that they did their work. For example,
True.
even in the book, this guy talks about Bill Gates.
Correct.
People know Bill Gates as the richest person, or as a philanthropist,
Yes,
or
yes, yes.
as a business person. But when first Windows was released, guys, Bill Gates used to code 18 hours on the system, and he used to sleep on the keyboard, wake up on the keyboard. So Bill Gates was a very avid deep worker. And one more
Fair.
thing to add up to your thing. So it's very contagious, deep work, because when I started observing at my organization, I never enforced people to go do deep work or read deep work, but people around me started following. And one fine day, I had an employee coming forward and say, "Hey, Prithvi, will start deep work as an habit. Why don't you teach all of us deep work also, apart from data science?" So from then, deep work has become an organizational habit for us at Supervised Learning. I go ahead, give the names. People are waiting
Yes,
for.
sure. David H. Yes, correct. Third one is Adrian Rosbrock. No. Okay, so I have two names. Vishy Anand, correct. One of the grandmasters of chess game, not only in India but worldwide. One of the legends of the game. Uh, yes, one other person is David, who is the founder of Ruby on Rails. Um, and where is the chat? Okay, five times world champion.
Champion.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. The two other people is one Professor Adam Grant at Wharton School of Business, one of the youngest achiever who secured position of professor, full-time professor uh, at 31, at the age of 31, where at Wharton average age of professors is above 50. He is youngest professor. And the fourth name is again from India. He currently heads camera culture group at MIT Media Labs, and he is one of the first member who tried to capture the light at uh, billionth of a second in a frame, and that's how they are now trying to bend the light and get the uh, image of things which are not in direct sight but in a curved. If you see by bending somewhere, you can see that object, but in a straight line you cannot. So these four people, why somewhere around Vishwanathan Anand is something very crucial, because he's a chess player. And I remember one of his stories, like in the middle of a rapid game, which generally lasts for 5 to 6 minutes, he was thinking about a move for 1 minute 43 seconds. Everybody was amazed because he was going towards 60 seconds of balance time, and the opponent was at 3 minutes 30 seconds or something like that. And this guy was still steady, no emotion on face, and he waited for 1 minute 43 seconds just to make a next move. Uh, I, when I watched that game on YouTube again, I was like stunned. In a rapid game, thinking for 1 minute 43 seconds is something. Uh, he was he was master of the art. He was focusing on the game, and he was trying to figure out what could be the next move of the opponent. And the move whatever move he did, after that it was hardly matter of 30 seconds he won the game. But waiting there, that having that confidence in self abilities, that even if I wait for 1 minute 43 seconds, nothing is going to happen, uh, is the uh, clear art what he was thinking, the kind of clarity he brings in a thought process. Again, because these four images will give you four rules of deep work. That's why these four people are here. This is again very interesting part, because uh, yeah, yes, Mohit. I think I don't remember the exact uh, which move it was, but yes, I was amazed by the art of game that he does. Um, okay, so Vishwanathan Anand is one. Dr. Ramesh Raskar, he is the founder of Camera Culture Group at MIT Media Labs. The, the third one is Professor Adam Grant at Wharton. And obviously, yes, for every programmer, Ruby on Rails, David. Uh, so, moving forward, these four images will give us different tips, tricks, techniques of following deep work. So, what is deep work? So, there are different types of work that I feel: less focus, more work; more focus, less work; more focus, more work; and less focus, less work. Funnily, I wanted to mention because one, you can look at the text; second, you can look at the image, and both tries to give a similar kind of a meaning, that what is deep work actually. uh, when you deep dive into a sea, there is one thing which I feel I will never be able to do. Somewhere I feel I may not be able to swim and dive. That leap of faith is something which I still lack, is what my personal feeling is. But if I have to do something like this, what is shown in the image, I will have to have a focus on what I'm trying to do. I have to control my breathing process. I have to ensure that my swimming skills are up to the mark. Otherwise, it is not going to happen. And I have to think only about swimming. If I start thinking about Guinness Book of World Record, if I start thinking about images, I think I will not swim. Uh, and that's why this image and these words relates to deep work for me as a individual. So what is deep work? Deep work is you focus on your work really, really in a meaningful way, and we start building. We get good outputs, we get good outcomes, we get uh, we 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 try and build that impact that we always wanted to create in our life through our work. So imagine, look back at the four images. Had these any of these four guys would have thought about the fame or research citations of their research papers, or probably how much money I will make after building Ruby on Rails, or uh, will I get Bharat Ratna or not? I don't think so. Any of these four people would have reached to the point where they are. Their focus was on the only one thing, that how can I excel at whatever I am doing, and that's the only thing I think they would have thought of till some point of their career. Because after reaching to one point, they can think of multiple things, but to a certain point, they would have focused on developing a skill and building that skill ecosystem within their uh, habits.
Yeah. Hey Shiva, one point I want to add by
Yes,
interrupting you here.
yes,
So, one correction I have to give, not correction, when people think deep work, the name or the kind of examples, even the book uses, people think that, okay, this book is aimed at making me a Bill Gates or Vishy Anand so deep work is not about achieving something very, very great, as it is only achieving uh, something in less number of time. It's not about improving your cognitive capabilities. Okay, of course they will improve over time, but my point here is uh, deep work is more focused work. You do whatever you're doing in an efficient way. It's not about building it. If I have to tell in data science context, it's not about inventing a new architecture in deep learning and becoming the next what do you say, anyone, Yashua Benigo or someone like that. No, it's not that. But it's all about starting the day at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, completing the expected work in 4 hours and 5 hours. It's more peaceful and happy life when we have more time for ourselves. So it's not about increasing intellectual capability or cognitive capability. Of course, they will increase when you increase focus. But the point here is, yeah, do work without any distraction. Then I'll tell you guys, life will be over the time, as Shiva said, over the time you will be there. Yeah.
yes,
So it is more focus, more focus. Of course, more work or less time depends upon how much time you put. You work. So I'll tell you my example. The days I do deep work, I generally work for 4-5 hours a day. That's it, and I'm done with it. A lot of people on LinkedIn recently, this trend started. A few of them say, "Hey, this guy is a fake guy. He puts all the fake things." I'm like, come on. I made it possible by working for 8 hours a day in a focused manner. And one more thing, guys, if you work in a very focused way, even 5 hours, and you're very exhausted. Yeah, go ahead, Shiva.
correct. Fair enough. You are exhausted at the end of the day. But
Yeah, I know I was exhausted at 12 p.m. afternoon, 12 o'clock, even before lunch. And after lunch, I don't feel like working because I start at 6 a.m. till 12 a.m. I'm done with all the works and then I'll chill out. Just imagine, people say that, hey, Prithvi, because you're an entrepreneur, you have your own business, you have time. No, I made time by becoming efficient. So rest of the day is for you. Read book, music, dance, kuch bhi karo. So unknowingly or knowingly, all these distractions take away a lot of our time and make us feel busy. They grab our attention. So how to grab our attention back is deep work. Go ahead, Shiva. Yeah.
yes, thanks, Prithvi. Thanks for clarifying that point. So again, this is the same message I wanted to give, that the deep work is not about becoming something, but it is about figuring out your own potential, what you can do with more focus. Moving on, what I want to share with you is the idea of deep work. What exactly? Why do we need the deep work? One is probably deep work is valuable. Why it is valuable? Because honestly, trust me, guys, not everybody can, you know, it is not not everybody. When I say not everybody, it will take some time for individuals to build that habit of deep work, is what I want to say. It's not going to happen like today you heard about deep work, today you saw the book of Cal Newport, you, even if you read it in one sitting like 8 hours, 10 hours, and you start practicing deep work, and tomorrow you are a deep work professional, probably not. I was sharing about today's session with one of my very senior friend in the industry, and I said this is a session about deep work, and then he said yes, yes, very important concept in professional life. we are going to collaborate for this deep work thing with one of the machine learning professional. I was wondering about this statement. What made you think that it is related to machine learning? It's
Deep
deep
learning.
learning. I was like, that's the problem, sir. Deep work is valuable because it is subject agnostics. It is about you. It is not about the industry. It is not about the subject. It is not about the skill, but it is straight. It goes to the core of the problem. It's you. If you are not able to focus, you will not be able to bring out more creative work or more work that is expected from you. And that's why it is deep. It is nothing to do with deep learning. It is
Uh,
only about
Shiva, in this context, I used to face this when I put on LinkedIn. People used to confuse deep learning with deep work.
yeah,
And
yeah,
one day I finally said, hey, deep learning is training artificial neurons. Deep work is training natural neurons, your brain neurons. then,
correct.
people, then people started to realize uh,
That it is something different.
that's something different. Yep. Go ahead. Go ahead. Tell me why deep work is gonna be very useful. I mean, the
Yes.
premise. Yes.
So uh, one thing is very essential. Inherently, our current lifestyle is distracted. We receive a spam call. We receive a call from bank. These are simple distractions, but someone like me who trains students and teachers in a school, I receive calls from teachers. Shivranjan, this thing is not working, and it is as simple as their laptop is not turning on, or their Zoom link is not getting open. So they call me. I'm in the middle of something, and obviously I have to receive that call. And okay, my attention is now gone over, but I do have to respect their work also, because they want to teach the students. So how I'm going to work with a deep work philosophy in these distracted environments, where I need to produce something very important for the students only. See, to give you an example, I work with the social sector. So for social sector, for any kind of program management, logical framework is an important tool that needs to be developed. And logical framework has a flow of what is the input, what are the activities, what output is going to happen, and what is the outcome. So the inherent problem is, if you are not focused on this particular tool, you will always do some issue within two concepts: output and outcome. Output is nothing but how many times you are going to do the activity, and outcome is what students are going to get benefited, or what end beneficiary is going to get benefited. So what happens is, if I'm doing this work, I have to have a focus on this work, and if I do this with a focus, only then I can share it with everybody for their processes. Now if I'm getting calls from teachers, students, team members, asking for help, asking for support, uh, do you think will I be able to focus anytime on my work? It's hardly impossible for some people, because of their work culture only. As in, you are supposed to reply to your manager's WhatsApp message within 2 minutes, or like, as soon as you receive the message, you should reply. Or I don't know how many organizations follow 24 hours turnaround time for email replies. If
Shiva,
you
I
are
have to tell you something here. Okay, so it's a very interesting thing on a human brain. So distractions, I think everyone are sold here. We all have distractions. Now, I want to tell something on the human brain perspective also. Two things here. I'll ask you a simple question. How many of you guys are addicted to news feeds? LinkedIn newsfeed, Insta newsfeed, WhatsApp stories, YouTube reels, or whatever. How many of you are addicted to news feeds? I used to be okay. Now, okay, not anymore. Great, Naresh. Now, I'll ask you the next question. Why do we get attached to them? Or why do we get attached to distractions? Wow, dopamine. Yes.
Correct.
So the human brain is very peculiar in nature. Every time we experience something new, uh, there's a short burst of dopamine, and that makes your human brains happy. And that's how we get addicted to all these things, where new things keep on rushing, splashing over your brain. You consume content, and it makes you feel happy temporarily, and you try to use it. And that's how all this Facebook, YouTube, all this social media today use that simple principle of throwing you the short bursts of dopamine to get you addicted. Exactly. So that dopamine rush makes us addicted, and we don't know. And if you talk about deep, and even if you talk about the historical or all the sages who used to be there, the day you start fighting your distraction, the mind has a mind, first of all. Okay, the mind is like a monkey, and you have to have a mind of the mind, which will tell you, hey, don't get distracted, focus. Okay, the day we focus on all those distractions and avoid them to minimal possible way, and that day we will be good. Second aspect here is switching from task to task will deplete willpower. So if you understand the concept of willpower, your brain has some willpower. Because if your a spouse or your mom asks you go cut vegetables, you won't cut it because you don't feel like doing it. Your willpower is exhausted at the end of the day. So the willpower is a limited resource you are born with, and it's also a limited resource every day you have. The day you switch, the more you switch and switch, okay, I'm doing this, and then there's a phone here, switch to the phone, type something, then switch to another thing that is here, and come back. This will give you short bursts of happiness to the brain, and you're perennially happy. But what you don't know is like your willpower is getting exhausted. Switching consumes more willpower than focusing on a work. 10 times more. You switch and come back, you're done. If you see the people who switch tasks a lot, and they call it in the name of multitasking and all, their cognitive capabilities are much lower than the people who are focused on one particular work. So these are two fundamental premises again, why we should do deep work. Because to preserve our willpower for the task at hand, and this. Okay, yeah, interview question. To preserve our task, willpower at task at hand, and a lot of times people ask me, Prithvi, how do you follow deep work? I tell them, see, once you understand the logic behind people who are taking attention, they're tricking you guys, they're grabbing your attention. Now focus on fighting back. Don't let people grab your attention. That's it.
Correct. Fair enough. And not everybody is able to do this. And okay, can we consider working and replying to work mails as part of deep work, or they different? Okay, I'll answer to your question from the deep work only. So deep work is valuable. Again, as Prithvi said earlier, it is about individuals. It is not about your work. It is not about what work you are doing, but it is more about how you are doing and what is the outcome of your work.
In
Essentially,
this, yeah, in this context, Shiva, I have to tell this example. Even the book talks about the example in McKinsey, I think. I don't know, it's Big Four company,
yes,
where turnaround times are in within minutes, not even hours. This lady from Stanford went and did an convinced them, take 70 or 100 team of consultants. They told all their clients, hey, your reply will come back in 4 hours. That's it. And for 2 hours, they were not allowed to open the emails. So your email open time has been changed like this. Okay, 8 o'clock you open, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and then 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock. They have segregated the email time, and they said, okay, 8 o'clock you open, answer all emails till 8:30, done. till next 10 o'clock, no opening of emails, no notifications for the emails. This was really conducted in a big four company, and these people, including the clients, reported that the team has performed exceptionally well than the other people.
Right.
So no compromise on turnaround time, no compromise on quality of work. At the same time, all these guys, and by the way, all the team of 100 people who did this experiment reported that they were much more happier at the end of the day and at the end of the month also. And it's a very sad reality that the industry doesn't embrace this. All the bosses wanted to say, "Hey, you got the email? Reply right now." But my personal perception is like, yes, we have to slice it 2 times, 3 times a day. That's it.
Yes. And that happens with me. I get calls if I don't reply on email, because generally I close my Outlook and I work. Consider working and replying to work emails as part of deep work, or they are different. Let us answer this question also through next 5-10 minutes of discussion. Deep work is rare. Now understand, if you have to, uh, 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 how should I put it across? So, deep work is valuable for you as an individual. At the same time, deep work is rare because not everyone will be able to focus to this level. Second thing, not every time you will be able to do this kind of a focused work. Uh, and yes, deep work is meaningful. Now imagine, let's take example from Shiva only. He's seeing example of coding and writing work email. Now I'll give you the opposite examples of both, how they are deep work and how they are not deep work. So how coding might not be a deep work if you are supposed to just copy paste some part of the section, or just redo something which you have already done, or say simply you knew that algorithm and you have to implement it. It is not the work that you need to focus, it is just the added work to it. Yes. And if you are writing a business proposal which is essential for your business, it is going to create a value out of your work. So that way, writing work email which is adding value to your business can become act of deep work, because you have to choose each word with a meaning, and you have to give that meaning to the client in the same way that you are thinking. So it could be both ways. What value you are bringing out of your work will define whether that work is deep work or not. It is not just the face value we cannot take to define whether I'm doing deep work or not. We have to look at deep actual value that we are bringing out. And this brings me to the principles or the rules. Um, so when I say work deeply, now how do you work deeply at any point of time? So uh, generally, when we look at the rules, generally when we, I have a message here.
Oh, okay. I was telling no distractions. That's it.
Yeah, okay.
Work deeply. Work deeply means no,
no distractions.
no distractions.
Okay, so there are four simple principles. You work deeply, embrace the boredom, quit social media, and drain the shallows. Now, I'm telling these four things at once because this is something going to add dichotomies and difference of opinions with each one of us. And it's very, very interesting. So, when you are bored, what you are going to do? You are going to do something which really means to you a lot. So embrace the boredom if you are feeling bored. From where this boredom is coming, you are going to put restrictions on social media. Now I'm going to talk about very practically about deep work. These four principles are coming from a book who has or from the experiences of the people who are able to isolate for, at a stretch for say 6 months. There is one example in the book mentioned where the deep work follower goes into isolation for 6 months, and only then he comes back and he does shallow work for 6 months. So work deeply is you keep your focus on your given task for given amount of time. So because we are all talking about practical or applied deep work in our real life, I think what you can start with is every day decide 1 hour of time where you will go completely undistracted. If you can isolate for yourself only for 1 hour a day to begin with, to understand what this philosophy is going to give me, you can start with 1 hour a day, because this is a book which talks about a transformation. So transformation cannot happen in a day. So take an example of a gym. If you're going to a gym, and if you on the day one, if you start weightlifting 200 kg, uh, you should understand what will happen. So work deeply is to begin slowly. You start, so your trainer is going to give you some guidelines like do this cardio for 5 minutes, do this, this particular flow of your warm up routine also will be defined. And slowly after maybe 3 months, 4 months, you will start doing weightlifting. It's not just on the day one you are going to go for a weightlifting if you are joining a gym. Whether irrespective of your status, irrespective of your physique, irrespective of your uh, bank balance, irrespective of all these things, your gym trainer is going to tell you, okay, start with warm up.
Yes.
And that's the idea of deep work. You start slow, you start with what is possible for you, what is feasible for you.
Right.
Maybe yes, sorry.
Acha, in embrace boredom, I'll tell you one interesting example. Guys, whenever, see, look at profession, look at personal life. In your personal life, you go out of your flat, go to the lift, you press the button. It is, let's say 5 minutes away. The lift is 5 minutes away. What do you do, guys? At least I used to open my phone and check it. Second thing, there's a long traffic jam. Not jam, the signal has come up. Okay. And you pretty well know next 3 minutes is free, right? Or next 2 minutes. What are we guys doing it? Take the phone and have a look at it. And so what happens in our personal life, the habits we make reflect back in professional life also, because at that point when I press the lift or when the traffic gets halted, I feel bored. Instead of embracing it, again, how do you embrace? It's your point of story. Instead of doing that, you pick the phone, right? You check the random notification on WhatsApp or Facebook or Insta or whatever. Now in the profession, the brain doesn't understand you're working or you're in enjoying mode, right? When you come back during the day and you do some work for 3 minutes, you get bored. What will the brain do? Right? It will ask, pick up the phone or pick up the nearest distraction. So it becomes a habit. Embracing the boredom has to be first implemented in our personal lives. Okay, you're feeling bored. Okay, take a deep breath or listen to some music or do some activity which doesn't change over the time. Then I again, as Shiva was telling you, embracing boredom is not so easy thing. It takes a lot of time to do that. But feel it. When you're opening some of your distraction, when you're opening your WhatsApp or when you're reading, typing messages, hey, yeah, I'm feeling bored. That's why I'm typing this. When you say this to yourself again and again, over the time, you'll realize, okay, I'll not do it anymore. Definitely. Meditation is focusing on one thing at a time. Deep work is meditation for whole day, I would say. People come and say, Prithvi, do meditation for 1 hour a day, at least 15 minutes a day. I tell them, dude, I'm doing deep work all the day. Because Because see, I'll tell you, I mean, I'm not against meditation, but meditation is like people who do meditation, I know a lot of them, 30 minutes they sit, I don't know what goes on in the mind. Let's say they're effective in it, but after 30 minutes they come back and they do all this shit, like they don't embrace the boredom. What is the point? So it's not about one peak value, 30 minutes a day you train your brain. No, the brain has to be trained all the day. So practice deep work. It is more effective than meditation, I would say. And
Correct.
meditation tells don't focus on anything, focus on your breath. I mean, I felt it is impossible. For me, focusing on one thing is easier. So deep work is easier for me and doable. So yeah.
Correct. Fair enough. As in, embracing boredom is one challenge because we have been, I remember I received my first phone when I was when I completed my 12th standard, and I'm talking about 2006. So, phones were not so much of a craze. Only possible way of uh, acquiring the knowledge was library, and the principle of a library is don't talk. Maintain the silence in that library room and read whatever you want to read. So the only possible way for me to remember is at 9:30 I have to make a call to my parents from a hostel phone. That was the only thing. But the moment phone came to me, I stopped visiting library because my phone was continuously on. Because one, I was staying in Chennai away from my parents. So my parents wanted to check every 2 hours, how are you? Are you fine? Had you have taken your lunch, dinner, all those things. Slowly, I think I also started understanding this fact that embracing boredom is not easy because we are all given all the tools and equipments to not embrace boredom. Embracing boredom is in other way is accepting minimalistic lifestyle also. Not every day I have to have update of what is happening in the world unless it is my it is something going to be affecting me in a deep way. As in, what if Facebook was shut yesterday? It is not going to affect my life so much because all my friends are either connected to me directly over a phone, or there are people whom I haven't even met. And I'm not denying Facebook is not good. It might be for people, but it is not going to affect my personal life as such to get too much worried about it. Or let's take an example of something getting released tomorrow. I think it can wait for a day. I can go back to it if a new version of PyTorch or TensorFlow was released. I can get back to it next day after it is released because I want to know too much about the world. I am giving away my personal space of 15 minutes, 20 minutes in a day, and that's the time we need to get back from these people and embrace the boredom. It's okay, fine. हाँ अच्छा, okay, हाँ fine. TensorFlow का नया version आ गया. Okay, every day TensorFlow is releasing multiple versions. Now they are on to Raspberry Pi, Arduino. Now they are on to Node.js. That Node MCU, tiny chip. Now they want to do TensorFlow JavaScript for web browsers. Now they are releasing 2.1, 2.2. It's okay. It is going to change every single minute, every single day. Is it really affecting me? Probably yes, if I'm doing a TensorFlow development only. If I'm a part of TensorFlow development team, uh, or I'm a hobbyist who has all the time in the world and wants to just update, or I'm a blogger, then this might affect me. But I'm a software development professional who works with a Android and develops a fairly intermediate level of apps. If I read about TensorFlow's 2.2 version story, let's say 6 o'clock in the evening, it is okay. It is going to be okay for me. I don't have to flash, oh my god, LinkedIn, what happened? Nothing. It's okay. We can accept that sometimes what happens is we are all also in the fear of missing out.
Yes.
uh,
True.
Accept that it is okay. Nothing is going to miss out from my hands, my life. Uh, that accepting, embracing boredom is equivalent to accepting FOMO. It's okay. I'm missing out something, but that's fine for my life. I'm okay with that missing out because I know I can do it tomorrow.
Yes. And I'll give you one more motivation for you guys to embrace boredom. These Facebooks or social media, all these distractions, as I said, first thing is switching itself consumes a lot of your brain ka battery. I mean, willpower ka battery. After switching also, once you come on this media, this consumes a lot of our willpower. That's for guaranteed, because you see Kangana Ranaut making one statement, you click it, and then for entire next week you get all those articles on her. And SSR or whatever, all the trending news, these are so much attention grabbing and they consume our willpower. I'm telling you, the day you start embracing boredom, you will have a lot of willpower in hand. I'm telling you with experience. So you're like, ha, kuch bhi hoga. I'm not scared. Dude, what happens to Kangana Ranaut Bangla? Okay. I'm bothered about my rent, how much I have to pay this month. Okay. How much I have to pay next month. What is my EMI? That's matters to me, right? Why should I am bothered about someone? Okay. Next thing is like COVID. These guys tell 1 million cases, 30 million cases. What should I care about? Okay. Are anyone in contact with me? No. Okay. Am I safe? Am I going with all our precautions? Right? See, it's not that we shouldn't take care of society, country. You should not be selfish. बात कुछ नहीं है. I mean, like, you want to help people, go and help. You want to care about them, care it by doing. But by perennially getting attached to the news, social media, we are losing our willpower, which should be focused for our goals. So embracing boredom has many advantages, and everyone has their own way to embrace boredom. For me, I'm like, whenever I feel bored, I'm just like, I leave everything and just walk out. If I have phone in my hand, I'll check it. If I walk out without any phone. So one way I embrace boredom is try to keep phone at a distance. I mean, at least for 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day, when I cook or when I clean or when I go out for a walk, when I go out for gyms, I keep a separate music device. That's it. And I try to avoid phone. Again, computer also. Though I have a laptop, I use it like a PC. I don't move it here and there. So there's one specified spot where I work, where I use phone, and you have to figure out your own steps to embrace freedom. Again, the notification game. I'm telling you, the notifications are like, are you a slave to them? Because they're like just hitting your brain. Hey, come on, look at me. So turning off notifications is like very important. Don't give attention. I know people ping you for profession, for friends, but prioritize. The day you say no to notification is the day you get more value for yourself. I'm telling you. So, yep.
And thanks, Prithvi, for these couple of motivational additions. The third thing, as a rule, which Deep Work says, is quit the social media. And I agree and I disagree also. It is okay to have a social media account. I don't have to quit from it, but I need to ensure that how much time I'm using it and for what purpose I'm using it. Whether it is pure fun or whether I want to just know some information. Because of late I have started feeling bored with Quora also. Facebook, Twitter was already out of my focus. Quora and LinkedIn was something which I used to follow. Of late, LinkedIn also slipped off, and then Quora also is slipping off because it is not giving me any sensible information. I don't know how their algorithm works, but one fine day, by mistake, I clicked on a mail link which was shared with me, which talks about our arranged marriage is good in India. And since then, I'm getting just arranged marriage notifications on Quora, all the stories about it. For all the work I did over 6 months to build my field on machine learning, deep learning, impact professionals, everything went in a it
Toss.
went when in just one click link, as in one click of a link, it went in a when. I was like, why I'm using then? I don't want to. It's okay. I will find out my own way of
Pro-
information. And so for social media, I check LinkedIn in the morning, uh, or
Probably this is more frustrating than arranged marriage itself. Maybe, I don't know. You have to tell you.
and
Yeah.
plus I can't discuss because I'm married also.
I know, I know.
Uh, but for quitting social media, somewhere I have drawn a good line that every day morning when I get up at 6 o'clock, after completing my exercise and everyday work, I will spend half an hour on reading article that I want to read on a platform like Medium and Substack, because it helps me find out the article I want to read. Again, it is same with every social media, but of late I have started using, as in keeping my focus around the article. So nowadays I'm talking to people who are working on Sanskrit as a language. So a lot of articles, a lot of research papers are there. But of late, I have made this habit that morning 7 to 7:30, half an hour, I will read one article with some meaningful conversation at the end of the day with my academic mentor. And this helps me because I'm onto social media, I'm aware of what is happening in the world. At the same time, I'm not on social media because that is my choice whether I have to reply or not. My family, my relatives complain a lot about me to my parents. Your son has become too big in his life, and I say yes, because I'm taking control of my life from you. That's the whole story. uh,
Again, with respect to social media, of course, the book talks about quit social media, come out of everything. Even I agree with Shiva's opinion. We can't completely isolate ourselves. For example, I quit WhatsApp for 3 years completely, but as you grow, it has become an inevitable part of the body, and sometimes I have to install it back. And uh, the thing I will tell you which helped me is like I put limits for it every day, like 30 minutes, that's it. After 30 minutes the app is gonna get blocked, and I'm not gonna unlock it or use it. There are apps which help you. On Android, quality time app will help you. On iPhone, screen time by default helps you in setting the time. Second thing, being aware of okay, my students have this problem. Guys, I am on Slack. Okay, don't complain now. Now don't get there. Okay, so the second thing I want to talk about is like track how much time you spend on social media. For example, I use a plugin called Leech Block. Leech Block is a plugin which is available by Firefox and Chrome, both browsers. So it will track your time on every channel. It will allow you to put limits also. For example, on my Leech Block, I kept mails 9 to 10, 9 to 12, 30 minutes, and 12 to 4, 30 minutes. And after that, no email. That's it. So I forced myself to spend a block of time, and after that I have no other way to compromise. Of course it comes with a side effect, like somebody complaining on a public channel, Prithvi doesn't reply to me, like that. But yeah, you have to come back and call them people and pacify. So I mean, it has its own pluses and minuses. Tracking the time where you spent on social media will actually help you, because one fine day you realize, hey, I spent 7 hours on WhatsApp today, seriously. And then tomorrow comes the change. So most of the times we don't count how much we spend, because the technology is available. You can spend I mean, understand how much we are spending time on this app, the way we track it will actually train our subconscious mind to, okay, use it less, use it less, use it less. And one fine day you'll use it less. So that's my experience. So again, half of the social media I quit. I uninstalled Facebook, I installed WhatsApp, and on LinkedIn, that's my food. I cannot uninstall it, so I have to be there. And on LinkedIn, I used to spend 1 hour a day. People don't believe I spent only 1 hour a day on LinkedIn. They think that, okay, Prithvi is available all the day on LinkedIn. No, I mean, efficient usage, track it out. Even on LinkedIn, I reply to a lot of people. So I keep a specified time, half an hour time. I don't do anything. Just sit on LinkedIn messages, keep on replying all the messages I get. And for 30 minutes, I'm on replying the messages. Until tomorrow, 30 minutes slot comes, I don't reply on LinkedIn, for example. Okay. So that makes me efficient, because once I'm on replying mode for 30 minutes, I'm focused on that. Even that is also deep work. Yep.
Correct. And the fourth one is obviously, I think, drain the shallows.
Drain the
This is
shallows. Okay.
drain the shallows. One thing is, I think Prithvi spoke about it in a flash. That you being aware about yourself is going to help you a lot to build a focus. And drain the shallows is identifying different things that you do in a day which are not adding any value to your life. Uh, as simple as waiting for lift to reach to your floor, or waiting for auto to come, or cab to come, or you are in a traffic, or you have 10 emails to reply with, yes, thanks for reaching out to me, I will come back to you in 24 hours. As simple as that one liner reply, which is a no brainer. It is a shallow work that you are doing. It is not adding any creative value to your life. And that's where deep work is all about, that you add you build something, you create something, or of which is of a value to your life, to others life also. Now, how are you going to drain the shallows? One thing which Prithvi suggested, have a slots. Second thing, it's sometimes we go too much harsh on ourselves कि कल मैंने 1 घंटा यूज कर लिया तो आज मैं करूंगा ही नहीं. Don't do that. Ensure that you are going to the time slot every single day. Even if you have crossed it yesterday, today you are not supposed to turn it off, but to use it in the control limits, because that's going to help you drain your shallows. If you see, the more you deprive yourself of something, you crave for it more. It's a funda of our life. There is no other go about it. You don't try to put hard stop on something, and that's why I said quitting social media on day one is not a good habit. Over the period of time, you will quit the social media, you will come out of that trap, but it's okay. It will take its own sweet time. It is like, I will still go back to gym or yoga. On the first day of yoga, in yoga classes, nobody teaches you makarasana, or nobody teaches you that go mukhasana. No, they will start with basic breathing practice, not even pranayama. They will not even go to anulom vilom. They will go to samavritti. They will go to basic breathing exercises. That's how we have to start, and every day we have to do it for say 20 minutes of time. Today you are using WhatsApp for 40 minutes of time, doesn't means tomorrow you have to stop using WhatsApp, because if you don't use it tomorrow, the day after tomorrow you are going to use it more. Please ensure that whatever you want to do it consistently. Even if you fail, it is okay to fail, because deep work or shallow work, or any transformative life methodology or productivity hack is misses one thing on people do not take care of, that is about consistency and starting slow. If you want to run a marathon of 42 kilometers, you don't run marathon of 42 kilometers on day one. You start the preparations year before and then slowly build that capacity. Similar is with machine learning. You can't go and define a new algorithm if you on the day one. You will do it so, but that will take its own time because you need to explore the field. You cannot go to one class and start teaching like an amazing teacher on day one. It will take its own sweet time. And I think on this, me and Prithvi connect a lot because our
Yeah.
parents somehow we are into teaching. And my first day of a teaching in a classroom of grade 5 was, "We hate you, sir." That was the first line I heard in my class. We hate. And from that, I think I also started embracing that. Okay, fine, you hate me. It's okay. We are not here to love and hate. We're here to
Yes,
learn.
learn.
Learn. I'm happy. And I think they also agreed to that point. It's okay that you still care for us. Even if we hate you, you still care for us. It's okay. Let us have that classroom here. But that happened. That did not happen on day one. That happened at probably 700th day of my Teach for India fellowship in a classroom. So everything which is of a value will take some time to build as a habit. But what in the process we have to do is we have to identify what are all the spots where we spend a lot of time which can be utilized to something more meaningful. And by more meaningful, I do not mean you code more or you write beautiful articles. It is as simple as going in a kitchen and preparing a simple breakfast. That could be your because it's an art. Cooking is art. It helps you focus because if you lose focus of one spoon of a salt, your entire dish is spoiled. And I do respect everyone who cooks because it's very hard. In the lockdown, I have understood that this is something I need to learn. I need to practice a lot because it's very hard. Everyone has different taste, and in that you have to find something meaningful for everyone, healthy, tasty, everything. So again, I'm giving my personal life examples from which I have gone through. You might disagree, and it is okay to disagree also. One of the most important part of embracing boredom and training the shallows is accepting disagreements. The moment, see, one of the biggest shallow we all have in our life is arguments. Arguments with parents, argument with spouse, argument with better half, arguments with colleagues, arguments with self. The moment you agree to disagree, half of your shallows are over because, okay, fine, okay, it's okay, fine. Do you feel this is my mistake? Okay, let me think about it. Now the person next to you is like confused. What should I say next? He has already accepted his mistake. He's saying, let me work on it. Now, what should I argue on? So,
True.
so half of your
Again, we align here, Shiva. Because
half of your
probably,
shadow work is over. You don't have to
pro-
take care of it.
yeah, probably that's the best part of being a teacher. When you start teaching people, you accept the all opinions and you're okay. ठीक है, कुछ भी mistakes हो रहा है, will happen. I'm like, okay, I'll go back and correct it. So, yeah, that's a
What
very good
happens
point.
because of this is one, the other person gets confused. And at one point of time, they also start accepting that, okay, mistake happens. It's just that what I'm learning out of mistake. And the most important part is your energy is saved. Your willpower to work on your own things, your energy to work with uh, undistracted focus improves because you're not having a burden of arguments with someone else. That helps a lot because it drains a lot of battery out of your body.
And one more thing with the shallows is, guys, we can't avoid shallow work in IT. Every person, irrespective of CEO or the very basic starting guy, or you're at house, or a wife or a husband, your son or a daughter, whatever, the shallow work is there behind us always.
True.
So you can't avoid shallow work. You just drop off all the shallows which are not relevant and which are relevant to you. Yeah, you have to plan it or sort it. I will tell you one more book which has helped me with the shallow work, because being an entrepreneur for me, managing both the tech as well as the operations, for me shallow work is inevitable. I have to do it. So I had this classic dilemma always. For me, there's a one book called Getting Things Done, GTD. It is another famous book. I don't remember the author's name. Getting Things Done has uh, clarified, reduced my stress on the shallows. Today, if I have in the morning, I sit down, write all the 20-25 shallow works I have to do, and then put 1 hour of time for it and just get it done. And then I grab a book, go and read it for next 1 hour or 2 hours, something like that. Or as Shiva was telling, go into kitchen and cook. I do cook. So, by the way, cooking makes you better at deep work. I can assure you that.
Because you have to
Okay.
ensure
Yeah,
all
you
things
have to.
are set.
Otherwise, your stomach will go dry. I mean, like, yeah, you'll be hungry.
The
Acha, we'll open it for questions. I think people have questions. Last 10 minutes, guys. Shiva, do you have anything else to say?
No, no, I don't have anything to say.
Yeah.
Just one request,
Yeah.
because deep work is very fascinating. Don't expect too much from day one. Day
Yes.
one will be really boring because you are supposed to shut off everything and focus on your work.
True.
It will give some pain. It's okay. It will be there for some time because it's not something that we are doing on a regular basis. So build that habit over a time. Don't jump into it like, uh,
Yeah. I will tell you with this boring thing also. 1.5 year into deep work, people ping me on LinkedIn. Prithvi, I know you might be busy, but can you answer this question? I read that and I feel like I'm busy. I'm getting bored, dude. That's why I'm opening LinkedIn and messaging you. So one good part with deep work and avoiding all these distractions is like you will feel a lot of time in your hand. As Sairam was telling, his colleagues in Singapore used to work from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Guys, just imagine your day gets over at 10 a.m. I'm telling you, the kind of boringness you feel is like, I mean, you'll have a lot of time in your hand. So, Naresh, for which are you asking example? And I'll go ahead with Sukrit question. How do we plan our day? Rather, when do we plan it? Since the days have become so dynamic now, it's just a matter of time. Okay, Sukrit, generally, okay, shallow work. Okay, yeah, I'll come back. Sukrit, generally, if you are planning a day, I mean, don't plan task wise. Okay, 9 to 10 I'll offer answer boss email, 10 to 11 I'll go and clean the dishes, 11 to 12 I'll have my food. No, don't plan. For me, when I get a lot of dynamic work, what I do is just I list down all the tasks, and once I pick a task, I try to stick on the task until and unless some emergency comes. For example, emergencies you have to define for yourself. Your boss call, you have to take it. House ka boss call, you have to take it. Rest all, you can ignore it. So again, house ka boss can be wife and husband. Don't make me like it's only wife, okay? uh, so even women have this problem. I mean, husbands call, they have to take, otherwise like, yeah. uh, Okay, so don't plan day wise. Generally, plan all the list of tasks, and then I think you should be able to do it. And I have this habit of striking off when a task is completed. It gives me a good dopamine rush. Like, I don't know if you have seen this movie, The Pursuit of Happiness. The last scene, this guy comes out and said, "This part of my life is called happiness." So yeah, whenever I complete task all the day, at least 7 tasks in 10 tasks, I'm like, okay, this part of my day is called happiness. I completed 7 tasks and I go. So reward yourself, feel yourself. Then it makes you stick to that habit. Yeah. Naresh, you're asking shallow work example. I still didn't get it. Are you asking what kind of tasks I get, or are you asking how do I, anything specific so that I can answer it more clear? Others, any questions? By the way, Abdul was telling, and I have come across this by several of my friends, The Social Dilemma as a documentary on Netflix. Guys, please go and watch it. It's on the downsides of networking, what is does to our brain, uh, all those things. So please watch it. It's a must watch. I came to know about it. I didn't have time to do it, but yeah. And if you're more interested and you plan your short, can you share it? Okay, as I said, Naresh, my shallow work, right? I go and write down all the tasks, especially in professional life or personal life, and give 1 hour slot for it until I complete all the shallow work. I don't go back. I'll tell you example. For example, I handle the emails, right? Learn and supervised also these days I'm handling. So I open it at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning, answer all the emails, go back. For example, if I'm talking about my bills to pay, credit card or debit card, all the bills, let's say, uh, generally we all the bills to pay are like sitting on your head and you feel very stressed. What I did is like I took all my 4 credit cards, tried to map all the due dates, and I came across this date on 14th of every month. If I pay, I'll be not missing any credit card payments, all the them on time. For example, one credit card due date is 17th, the other has 26th, the other has 29th, the other has 18th. So 14 is a common point. On 14th, I keep a calendar invite, pay all the bills, log on 14th, pay the bills. That's it. Nothing else. I don't bother about it. Thank you, Abdul. So like this, on every aspect, you have to schedule it and try to stick to the schedule, then you're off the stress.
Also, Prithvi, I just want to add about the planning shallow work every day. Some
Right.
of the shallow works you cannot plan also. Like your parents, if you're staying with your parents, if they ask you for some help, I
Yeah,
think we also need to respect uh, other individuals in our vicinity, because see, the more you fight for not to do that shallow work, you are going to lose your will and energy.
true.
So maybe your wife or your brother or your sisters asked for some small help, which is a distraction from your work.
Yes.
But if you do that help for that 1 minute, I think
Is
you will come back to your work in much better
much
focus.
better. Yeah, there is this concept called if something is can be done in 2 minutes, go ahead and do it. Even in the deep work, also people follow this. So again, for me, it is like okay, some distractions are unavoidable. Some shallows are like yeah, you have to go for it. If you don't go for it, the entire next deep work session will be lost. Agreed, agreed. It can be anything. So yeah. So thank. I wanted to add on an email for
In your course, I have planned to do this. Do you do
yes,
that?
that's realistic. As I said, Naresh, realistic goals are much better than
Idealistic.
idealistic goals or ambitious goals because NLP as a subject is like very vast, very huge, and achieving mastery. See, I can teach you in 100 hours. I can do it off in 6 months or 8 months or 1 year, but you will learn it only over practice. My experience is like I learned all this I'm teaching in NLP 100 hours in let's say 2.5 years maybe. So it takes time. Again, depending on how much time you give. It's a good thing actually. And Naresh, I'll call you for sure today. So that yeah. So it's been missing.
Can you send a recorded video?
I'll do Harini. I know you joined in the middle. Yes, we'll share the recording. No worries.
Again, Prithvi, if you allow me for a minute,
Yeah, sure.
I
Why
want to
not?
share something with everyone. Guys, I understand everything is said and done. If you want to practice deep work or focused work, one small request which I have started building as a habit over the time: have decent amount of sleep in a day.
True, true.
Because if you are tired, if your brain is not getting that energy back, that rest from the work, I personally feel whatever plans you are going to make, they are not going to work, because that one sleep is that sleep of 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever your schedule uh, is very important for your any plan for the next day. It's very essential.
True.
Having that good amount of rest is essential for your focused work, because deep work as a methodology or practice will come from anything else, but first it will come from your natural habits. How much time you take sleep, is your work evenly distributed over the period of day, all those things will matter equally for a deep work. And one more thing, one last thing from me as my personal experience: start with 1 hour a day. Do not plan for more than 1 hour a day, at least for first month. Feel the kind of, if you do deep work for 1 hour, how much time you can save in a day, feel that, and then slowly improve your timing. Because not necessarily you don't have to do deep work like 8 hours, 10 hours a day. Even if you start with 1 hour and feel that energy, I think you will be better off to plan your schedules in a future time. So these two things equally important: have a good amount of sleep, and second, start slow. Because if you start slow only, then you will feel the energy out of it, and be motivated to do it more. Because small things are achievable, easily achievable. You will not feel dejected that, oh, I was not able to do deep work for 2 hours or 3 hours on the first day. So start small and grow, and have equal amount of sleep every single day. Do not avoid the sleep anytime in a day. That's a humble request if you want to practice deep work. Thanks, Prithvi. Thanks for the.
So, I should thank you, Shiva, waking up in the morning, delivering a session. And finally, my dream has come true. One day I wanted to start with someone like you. I mean, I had this, all the critic that, okay, Prithvi doesn't allow anyone on supervised learning to teach. I'm like, okay, no, it's not like that. So finally, I'm inviting a lot of speakers to speak on different topics. Thank you for accepting the request, and thank you for embracing the deep work. One of my student who, one of the earliest students who embraced deep work. And thank you guys so much for joining in the morning. And again, speaking about deep work motivated me to increase my pursuit to work in a more focused way. Again, any questions, you guys can always reach out to me or Shiva, right? And this is very small session, guys. Deep work is much more. It's like a philosophy, I would say. It's like a paradigm. Get that book, read it. By the way, you can Kyle Newport is the author. He has a website. You can subscribe to it as well. Thanks a lot. Great seeing you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Prithvi, for the session.
Yeah.